Good evening. Welcome to Tropical Chatter, your go-to source for online information regarding the 2017 hurricane season. Let's jump right into it. It's with Major Hurricane Irma. This is a catastrophic storm, just obliterating some of these northern Leeward Islands. Barbuda, U.S. Virgin Islands are next. It's just been catastrophic damage. Some reports 90 to 100% complete damage, no food, no water, no power. The vegetation totally stripped from the landscape. Absolutely devastating storm for some of these beautiful islands. Such a shame. Uh, as you can see tonight, Hurricane Irma is doing just perfect. It's just chugging along. It's a near perfect storm. Um, this outer rim of grays is just showing crazy high cloud tops, maxing out our scales. The storm is deepening right now, um, down to 914 millibars. That is down from about 918 earlier today. We did have some westerly shear impacting the storm. The storm's too strong. It doesn't care. You can see how close the eye got to the outside of the red. It's building back now. It's not a problem. It's going to continue to deepen more than likely. Now it has open water ahead of it for a couple hours. It's a catastrophic system bearing down on the southern Bahamas. South Florida, you're after the Bahamas. It's going to be one for the record books. It's already the strongest system outside of the Caribbean. Second strongest storm in Atlantic hurricane season history. It resembles a typhoon from the Western Pacific. It's had 185 mile per hour winds for more than 24 hours now, the longest stretch out of any hurricane in Atlantic hurricane season history. Truly an epic storm. Look how perfect that eye is. You see right down into the ocean. It's unbelievable. We'll go to the National Hurricane Center track now. This is from the 5 p.m. advisory. 185 mile an hour sustained winds, movement west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. Puerto Rico is just getting absolutely lucky right now. Last I believe, San Juan is gusting in the mid-60s. Some reports gusting in the 70s. But you're absolutely lucking out. This could have been a devastating landfall for you guys. Herbert's box, it just passed through that here, gives Puerto Rico a 20% chance of landfall, and luckily this is not going to be one of those 20%. It's missing just to the north. The eye is passing about 35 miles north of Puerto Rico, north of San Juan. Absolutely lucky outcome for Puerto Rico. Could have been so much worse for you guys. So I'm quite happy about that outcome. Northern Dominican Republic, you're going to get scraped by hurricane force winds more than likely in the next 24 hours. Then the southern Bahamas, you're going to get absolutely raked down here. You can expect the full fury of this hurricane. You're going to be on the northern side of the eye, the most intense side of the storm. Expect, over 100, 150 mile an hour gusts at times. Some of these islands will take a direct hit, and you can expect gusts up to 200. Complete devastation. More than likely, there's going to be nothing left in these islands, except the strongest, highest buildings on the island. These islands are not very tall. Water will just totally cover the entire island. So Friday morning, early Friday morning, we're into the Bahamas. Saturday afternoon, we're just north of Cuba, and I do like this track. This track looks pretty good to me now. Yesterday it was coming up out here, and I did not think that was correct. A couple days ago, 2 days ago, it was down here in Cuba. The Euro's been all over Cuba for a couple days. That has finally adjusted north of Cuba, like I've been talking about. I just did not see it affecting Cuba. It's going to affect Cuba. I did not see it making landfall in Cuba. It just didn't look like it was ever going to happen. So now that the Hurricane Center's track has adjusted north of Cuba, this will maintain its strength. They have it projected as a Category 4 coming into landfall. They have a 2 p.m. landfall in Miami-Dade. Just an absolute terrible outcome. This is going to switch around some. It could come down toward closer to the Keys. It could come a little bit offshore, a couple miles today, or back offshore with a track, something like that. So many outcomes are still on the table. If you are from the west coast of Florida to obviously the east coast of Florida, You need to watch this storm. This storm is absolutely huge. The circulation will encompass the entire southern part of Florida. So no matter where the eye goes, you're going to get tropical storm conditions. You're going to get torrential rain, storm surge along the southern coast. At this angle, this whole area right here is going to get massive storm surge. As this eye comes up, the winds off the ocean are just going to be funneling water like you've never seen before into the coast. It'll rival Andrew's storm surge. It'll rival some of the biggest storms Florida's ever seen. This is a dangerous situation, and you need to take it seriously. There's absolutely no reason for you not to take this seriously. Category 5, 185-mile-an-hour winds bearing down in southern Florida in 4 days. It's nothing to take lightly. So let's go over to the hurricane hunters. They have just exited the storm, and they are finding a strengthening storm like I talked about. When they got in there today, pressure filled a bit, 923 earlier today. But as they went through this storm, it's been strengthening all day, down to 915 millibars. There were some surface wind readings earlier above 185 miles an hour. They kept it at 185 mile an hour storm, as they should have. I mean, what more? Is 190 going to make you, evacuate? 185 will kill you, kill your family, and destroy your property if it's not taken seriously. So if you are in an evacuation area, listen to the locals, listen to the government, get out of there. Don't take any chances. It's just not worth it right now. As you can see, here's Puerto Rico. San Juan is in this area here, and the eye of the storm is now roughly over here. This is a bit old. I will show you that on radar in a little bit. It's a massive storm. It's absolutely an incredible storm to form in the Atlantic Ocean. It just rarely ever happens. So let's go to the outlook and discussion. This is from 5 p.m. from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical storm force winds extend out 185 miles. So if you are within 185 miles of the center of the storm, you're going to get tropical storm force winds. Hurricane force winds are confined to only a 50-mile radius. So if you're in those 50 miles, expect devastation. Storm surge, Turks and Caicos, 15 to 20 feet. Southern and central Bahamas, 15 to 20 feet. These islands are not 20 feet tall. They're going to be completely covered with water. If you can get out of there, get out of there. If you can get to the northern part of the islands, get to the northern part of the islands. The northern set part of the islands, not the northern part of your island. The northern tip of the Bahamas. Get to those. It'll be a little bit less there. Northern coast of the Dominican Republic, 3 to 5 feet. Haiti and the Gulf of Gonave. Gulf of Gonave, 1 to 3 feet. Northern coast of Cuba, 5 to 10 feet. I just got to go back over Turks and Caicos and the southern and central Bahamas, 15 to 20 feet of storm surge. It's unbelievable. Go to the beach at high tide, 15 to 20 feet higher than that. And then you got wave run up on top of that. Some of those waves will do the damage. The surge itself will do the damage. So high tide, normal high tide, 15 to 20 feet higher than that. These islands cannot take that kind of beating. 15 to 20 foot storm surge. Truly unbelievable. Go to the satellite here now. Here is Major Hurricane Irma. Sun has just set on it. Just passing north of Puerto Rico. So lucky. It's just a monster storm. Look at that CDO right around the eye. It's perfect. Absolutely stunning presentation on satellite. Doesn't get much better than that for the Atlantic. I know I keep saying that, but it'll be in history books. It'll be in textbooks. It'll be the definition of an Atlantic major hurricane. Infrared satellite. These grays showing up around the core, indicating just intense thunderstorms, winds, rain. It's just a monster storm here. I want to go to the tropical cyclone heat potential. I've been showing this every video for 3-4 days now. Irma is right about here, and as you can see, that correlates to about the first light shade on the chart here. As it gets north of DR and even into the Bahamas, the tropical cyclone heat potential just goes through the roof. We're talking about 2, 3, 4 shades up near the top of the charts. This area is going to be conductive for either maintaining its strength or strengthening. I see absolutely no weakening. The only way it can weaken is if the euro from a day and a half ago is correct and it runs ashore onto Cuba, and I do not believe that's going to be the case. Cuba has plenty of mountains, but there's plenty of space without mountains here, so they won't restrict the inflow all that much, especially if it stays, 50 or 100 miles north of the coast. It could be rapidly deepening, sub 900 millibars, Category 4, Category 5 strength. It may maintain 160, 180 mile an hour winds all the way up into the Florida coast. So real possibility, and it has to be taken seriously. The tropical cyclone heat potential is just through the roof in that area by the Bahamas, north of Cuba. It's quite concerning, to say the least. I want to go to today's Euro run. Back this up to right now. It's 24 hours out north of Dominican Republic, far enough off the coast of DR where they won't be getting, the core of the storm. No Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5 winds. You might gust to Category 1. And that'll be plenty bad. Flash floods, that kind of stuff for you guys. But the southern Bahamas is just going to get absolutely pounded. So we're in the 48 hours out now. North of the eastern end of Cuba, just destroying the southern Bahamas. I'm going to take this couple more frames ahead. So here's the closest pass to Cuba that the Euro makes. Pretty close still. Pretty close. GFS a little bit farther off the coast of Cuba. It's going to be a close call. I still believe there's no chance of a Cuban landfall. Of course, there's a chance. I just don't think it's going to happen. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But here's the big difference from yesterday's Euro to today's Euro run. Yesterday brought it way back here and through the coast like that. Today's run, let me move that forward another frame or two. Slams it right in the southern tip of Florida, south of Miami-Dade. Devastating storm for the Keys, from Miami south, and then at the 5 days, rockets right up the coast, everywhere from the Keys to Jacksonville. Hurricane force winds. Ryan Maui posted a great graphic on Twitter. Should have had that pulled up, but I don't. 150 mile an hour gusts for just an incredibly large area of people. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano, Boca Raton, West Palm Beach. Just 140, 150, 160 mile an hour wind gusts on this Euro for everybody. Inland, on the coast, everybody. It's a terrible, terrible scenario, but it looks like it's coming true. Back this up a little bit more so you can see the approach again. And comes in south of Miami and just rockets right up the coast. Just a terrible outcome. The next frame, we're talking about 6 days out now. Slams in the South Carolina, Georgia border. Strong hurricane, probably Cat 2 after doing all that damage in Florida. Cat 3 maybe. Just a devastating run for everybody in Florida. And out here, this is Jose. Nothing to worry about for now. Let's get through Irma. Nothing to worry about with Jose. I want to show you the GFS interpretation of what's going to happen here. This is the 18Z full res model run. And I'm going to put this into motion here. 18 hours out, more north of DR than the Euro. Current trajectory, I think this is probably going to be correct. Just ripping the Bahamas. Absolutely. More damage to the Bahamas on GFS than the Euro. Just more islands affected. We're talking about half of these islands getting direct hit from the northern eye wall, which is the eye wall that just has the 185 mile an hour sustained winds. Just a devastating blow for you guys. 15 and 20 foot storm surge. I can't look past that. It's unbelievable. So GFS, as you see, is much farther off the coast of Cuba. There would be no inhibiting factors from Cuba at all from this run here. 18Z brings it right next to Miami-Dade County. We're talking about 15, 20 miles off the coast. There is no landfall on this run. but the 12Z run had a landfall, 6Z run had a landfall. It's looking more and more likely that there will be a southeast Florida landfall from a Category 4 or 5 hurricane. It's a very serious situation. But GFS, even without a landfall, brings hurricane force winds from the southern tip of Florida through Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, Pompano, up through Cape Canaveral. And it's, after Cape Canaveral, it's far enough off the coast, similar to Matthew, where, you know, Daytona and New Samira is just getting brushed with hurricane force gusts at this point. And then, as you can see, 901 millibars category. Your guess is as good as mine. Likely 3 or 4. Just slams into South Carolina. The overall gist of this video is from Cape Canaveral down to the Keys needs to prepare for a direct landfall for a Category 5 hurricane. No way around it. If it's a 4, consider yourself lucky. If it runs into Cuba and it only comes in as a 3, consider yourself extra lucky. After that, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina need to expect a direct landfall from at least a Category 3 hurricane. Do not look past it. If it runs into Florida, it'll get off the coast of Florida soon enough, or it won't decimate the storm system. It will be a hurricane. It will likely be a major hurricane upon landfall in the southeast coast. Anywhere from Georgia to South Carolina and North Carolina, all on the table here. Even the northern coast of Florida, if this thing comes in and gets pinwheeled back quickly, west-northwest, northern coast of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, all in play for a major hurricane landfall after it rushes or does make landfall in southeast Florida. Not a good situation for the entire southeast coast, from North Carolina's Outer Banks to the Keys of South Florida. Be prepared. Start doing your work now. Florida, you know the deal. North Carolina, you know the deal. Georgia, you've got off the hook so many times over the years. This could be yours. You know, don't take it lightly. So I'm going to go to the H-Wharf now, see if that is loaded up. I was waiting on the 18Z to load up. It should be loaded up by now. So let's refresh this and see what happens here. Tropical Tidbits by Levi is one of the best websites on for tropical, you know, information in the world. So we're only out to hour 48 right now. I thought it'd be farther than that. 48 hours. We are in the Bahamas, north of Cuba. I believe that is Cuba. Yeah, north of Cuba as a major hurricane, Category 4. It does weaken it some actually from, you know, where we are now to where it's at in 48 hours. I do not expect that to happen at all. I expect Category 5 in the Bahamas, 100%. I would bet a lot of money on Category 5 in the Bahamas. HMON, that is the newest model out from the National Hurricane Center. I believe it's from the National Hurricane Center. But it's the newest model we have available. Let's refresh this. We're up to 72 hours on this one. So let's put this into motion here. 6 hours out, as you can see, it is too strong already, 894 millibars. We're at about 914 right now. It's dropping, but it's not dropping that quick. North of Puerto Rico, it does adjust now. It's at 900 millibars. Just destroying the Bahamas, as every model shows, as is going to be the case. Just northern eyewall, destroying these islands. Unbelievable. Well north of Cuba, as the GFS has it. And let's see here, we're going to run out of frames, and it looks like we're going to have a South Florida landfall on the H-Line. It's hard to tell because there will be a sharp turn north eventually, but it looks like it's going to plow right into this southeast coast of Florida, somewhere around here and here. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain outside, but it's pouring out right now here in Jersey. A couple flashes of lightning out there too. But this is a serious situation for South Florida. Board up the windows, move the cars to higher ground, secure your important documents in Ziploc bags, get your gas, get your water, food, move your cars to higher grounds. If there's a parking garage around you that'll let you park for the next couple of days, do it now because everything will be filled up in you know, another day and a half. My buddy down in Pompano, he's already moved his car. He said the lot is full. You cannot fit any more cars in there. He actually did that earlier this morning. So that's where we are right now. I'll show you a couple last things before we close this out. This is from my Twitter page. Here's the eye of major hurricane, Category 5 Irma. You can see it is clear as day. It's nearly perfect. Perfect circle. It's unbelievable. 33.3 miles away. The eye wall. The eye wall is 33.3 miles away from San Juan, Puerto Rico. This image is about 45 minutes old now. The eye has moved into this area here. Still roughly about 33 miles away, 35 miles away. It's just the luck of the draw that this thing didn't pass. 15 miles closer to San Juan, you guys would have been in the eye wall. You would have been getting 140 mile an hour wind gust, and it would have been devastating. Power out for weeks, if not months. Well, you guys are, missing the brunt of the storm. This eye wall right here is the brunt of the storm. You will get your 185 mile an hour winds in this eye wall right here. And when you get into the eye here, you won't have any winds. You see the moon and the stars. It's unbelievable. One last graphic before we go. This is the animated radar of it passing by, Puerto Rico. Just a perfect Category 5 on radar. I believe this is the third Category 5 ever on NextRad radar in history. I believe it was Andrew, Katrina, and now Irma. It's rare to happen, but it's happening. So consider yourself lucky, Puerto Rico. The Bahamas, you will not get as lucky. South Florida, you will not get as lucky. And the Carolinas or the Georgia coast, you will not get as lucky either. So with all that said, I want to go back right here to the 5-day cone. And we'll close it out by wishing the Bahamas the best of luck in the coming days. They're going to need it. Pray for them. Southeast Florida, Cape Canaveral to the Keys. You guys are in for it after that. And then the southeast coast from Outer Banks to Georgia. You guys are in for it after that. I do want to say I do plan on traveling down there to chase this storm. I have a couple options. One in Cape Canaveral, one in Pompano Beach down here. Both are about a mile to 2 miles off the coast, so I would not be in the direct storm surge. I'm sure there's going to be water reaching both locations, but I think I'd be well enough inland to survive the surge. The wind, who knows? But I do plan on traveling down there. I'm a little nervous flying into Fort Lauderdale. I think I'm going to fly into Orlando instead and then decide which way to go. With all that said, be safe and God bless.